hello, and welcome to our show for the love of animals. I'm Darlene Pickford, and we're so glad you joined us today. We have a real treat for you, so get paper and pencil. We've got a lot of useful information. And you are?
I'm Greg Bauer, the cohort here, or whatever.
Yes.
And we have a real interesting show. We've not ever done one like this one, Darlene.
Well,
and,
let's keep them in suspense, Greg. What are some upcoming shows?
Well, a couple of upcoming shows we're going to do will be quilts, our 2015 version of it, and also a show on cancer in pets.
Yes. Ooh.
And so those will be a couple things for the viewers to stay tuned with. But anyway, today, with all apologies to the Food Network, our guest today is Miranda Turner. And Miranda has been here at the college for several years and doing a lot of things with recipes and cooking and things like that. And she's just taken a new position down in Nashville as pastry chef, among other things, with the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And she's going to be moving down there very quickly. So welcome, Miranda, and thank you so much for bringing some wonderful pet treats to us today.
Not a problem. Got a couple of different varieties here for your feline, for your canine.
Okay.
So we're going to be doing the homemade cat and dog treat. How did you get, as a pastry chef, how did you fall into homemade pet treats?
In this lovely age of the internet, there's so many different recipes you can find out there. And in some of your larger cities, you're seeing actual bakeries just devoted to your animals.
Really?
Exactly.
We haven't seen those.
No, well, I learn something every day. So simply as a cook, you run across this as something in your area.
Of course.
Do you bake pastries for pets?
You can get very, very fancy with
bet
these.
you can.
These are just some kinds of, if you've never made treats for your animals before.
Okay.
This is a basic way to jump into it without fear.
Okay, okay.
And I might mention today, because Miranda's going to be showing us several recipes for cats and several recipes for dogs. And for our viewers, if you've gotten paper and pencil, you can copy some of these down. We will show the recipes on the screen while she's doing some of the preparations with it. They will also be available on the Facebook page that the college has, Paducah 2. And if you go down to our show, For the Love of Animals, with this, you can find the recipes listed there. And also, when you're seeing it on YouTube, you'll be able to see the recipes as a sidebar while you're watching the program. So you have no excuse for saying, I couldn't get the recipes.
And incidentally, that Paducah 2 is the number 2, right, Greg?
Yes, exactly.
Paducah2.org, so.
Exactly. So.
Oh, right.
Well, without further ado, let's get started here.
Let's start with cat treats. What are your 3 recipes for cats?
The 3 that I have for you today, you can see them over here on this little further tray.
Okay.
Notice for our dogs, we had the lovely little dog bone shape.
Right, okay.
As we get to our kitties, we want something that's a little bit smaller for them.
Right.
Right here closest to the end of the table here, we have our Salmon Snacks.
Okay.
That have salmon in there. They have some ground oats in there. In the middle right there, we have Tuna Treats.
Okay.
So of course we're staying with the fish there. Lovely little things to offer there. There's some flour in there, some cornmeal. I know a lot of people may not feed their pets. They may be on a grain-free diet or may have dietary restrictions dictated by the vet.
Right.
So of course I do want to mention to everyone, before you try these recipes out, make sure if your kitty or your puppy is going to be allergic to anything and have a bad reaction. Because all of these recipes do feature wheat flour in them.
Flour. Okay.
And then the last one there, we have our cat crackers.
Cat crackers, okay.
So a little bit of tuna in those too. So
just as a general rule, are there particular ingredients that we should avoid with the cat treats?
yes. And actually, when we get into the dogs, you're going to notice a lot of overlap as far as what ingredients really don't work best for cats and what really don't work best for dogs.
Okay.
I know some people may treat their animals like furry little trash compactors, and you know,
that's not good.
That's not good.
No, you should not feed. You should be very careful what you feed from the table.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Never feed from the table.
Well, that's a good rule of thumb. So, well,
Because just because it's good for us doesn't mean it's good for them.
No.
Certain things to watch out for, though. This is for both dogs and cats. Garlic and onions, but
yes.
onions especially for your kitties. It can make them very, very, very sick. Get something, you know, onion toxicity.
right.
Yes.
It can lead to a lot of health problems. And one thing you really would seem like a surprise to a lot of people, milk. Cats
Is
are
that
going to
good for-
naturally lactose
Gives them
intolerant.
diarrhea.
Exactly. We see a lot of different things that kind of cover both the cats and dogs. They can eat fruits and vegetables. You know, if you were to give them a kind of fruit that had a pit in it or something like an apple slice, you want to make sure you get all of those seeds out of the way as a choking hazard. Particularly for your kitties, if you are going to feed them any sort of fish, even with these salmon snacks and with the tuna treats, you want to make sure and go through anything that you're using, make sure pull out any little bones, anything like that that could be a choking hazard for them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know dogs, chocolate they're not supposed to have.
Chocolate can be toxic to dogs.
To dogs, right. So, and I do know that now, a strictly vegetarian diet, cats do need protein, don't they?
Yes.
And if they don't get it, it can make them blind.
Yes.
Yeah,
And we see that with both dogs and cats.
do we?
Dogs are really omnivores. And you know,
So are cats, yeah.
Dogs sometimes will eat anything. But that is very important that both of them do get a large amount of protein because it is so necessary for their bodily functions. Of course, we know the oils and the omega-3s help their coats stay
That's
nice and
right.
shiny.
So, well, let's get started with
Yes.
pick a recipe that you're going to do show us about the cats.
Let's start with cat crackers.
All right.
Cat crackers.
With cat crackers here.
Okay.
What we are going to do, we want to kind of get up, kind of
Yes.
move some stuff here.
Yeah. Can I hand you anything?
Well, this is basically with the cat crackers. I can really demo when we get to the dog treats.
Okay, okay.
And show you there. With our cat crackers here, what we're going to do is just take a little bit of undrained tuna. When
Okay.
you get your tuna, most people buy it in water. You can buy it packed in oil. That'll still be okay for them.
Okay.
This one does have cornmeal, and it does have a cup of whole wheat flour in it.
Okay.
And just a little bit of water to moisten. All of these recipes are very straightforward. If you've never made treats for your animals, all you really do is just combine it, mash it together until it's a good, like a dough.
Right.
With the cat crackers, you notice they are a little bit thinner than what
Right.
we have out here. This is another one where you would want to place it on a lightly floured surface, and you're going to roll it out with a rolling pin. Just till they're about 1/4 inch thick, and then cut them into small little kitty-sized pieces, and we're going to bake those in the oven. So they get nice and crispy.
I assume that the regular tuna or either albacore tuna would be all right.
Yes, albacore tuna is actually what I use today
Yeah, that's the white tuna,
with the tuna treats and with the cat crackers.
Uh-huh.
So you can go very nice with the albacore. You can go with something else if that floats your boat, or maybe your kitty doesn't like tuna or prefers mackerel or prefers salmon. You can opt out those different ones as well.
When you open a can of tuna at my house for us, I have a little noses in my kitchen, and they get the tuna juice that I take out.
Yep.
The same is true with the salmon, too.
Yeah, the same is true with salmon, right? Okay. Cat crackers, all right. Okay.
And we see the finished product over here.
Yeah, this is the cat crackers.
Okay.
And it's a nice size for them, and
Now,
diamond shaped.
what about the salmon snacks?
With the salmon snacks,
Okay.
we have our canned salmon. I just use canned salmon, use canned tuna with the Tuna Treats. Go through your salmon, make sure you're pulling out any small bones, anything that could be a choking hazard for them. This one's also going to have a little bit of flour. Well, we come in with some instant oats as well for some good whole grain fiber with them. And then we use an egg just to kind of bond it all together.
Okay.
What we're looking at more with the salmon snacks, this one in this recipe, it's going to be kind of a sticky mass of dough, but we're not going to roll it out like we did with the cat crackers. This one you can place in the bottom of a greased 9x13 pan.
Right.
You'll bake it, and then when it comes out, you let it cool completely. Obviously, don't give your pets anything right out of the oven. But as soon as they cool down, you can cut it into whatever size you need.
Oh, okay.
The beauty of all of these recipes is that, say you only have one little cat, as opposed to, you know, some people have a whole bunch of them.
That's us.
Any of these recipes, you know, you can take a portion of them, just bake off what you need, and keep the rest in the freezer.
Okay.
Especially, you know, with our dog bone recipes, you see the size of those bones. My sister has my little furry nephew. His name is Otis, and he's 6 pounds. So obviously, something like that would be far too big for him. So,
Can these be frozen?
they can be frozen
And it's a finished product.
as a finished product, and just pull them out when you need them.
Okay. So either way, either freeze the dough or freeze the finished product.
Exactly.
All right. And our third recipe for the cats?
We have the Tuna Treats. Now with our Tuna Treats, again, we've used the albacore tuna.
Okay.
They have just a little bit of powdered milk in there.
Okay.
Now we're going with powdered milk versus the regular milk. And just like we had mentioned earlier, it can make them have an upset tummy there. With these, it's just enough that it's more there for flavor than it is to necessarily harm them or anything like that.
No.
A little whole wheat flour in there too. Just combine it, and this you can just go kind of like in little marble shapes on your cookie sheet before you put it in the oven.
All right. Well, those sound simple enough that I think that I could even make. I don't know.
Well, I'm sitting here, and the smell of the salmon and the tuna is distinct, shall we say? Which I love both of them.
It is quite pungent. It is quite pungent.
Yes. So.
Well, you'd need that for the cats.
Okay, and let's see where.
Okay.
No, I'm just looking to see what we had with.
We finished the three.
Okay. Oh, I know.
Ones with the cats now.
Okay.
Okay, and we know we've. How about can you store them in an airtight tin or something in the refrigerator?
With the cat treats, my personal take on it, you could store them in an airtight container. I would keep them in an airtight container in the refrigerator versus at room temperature.
Okay, so
since they do have the meat products in there,
that's a good idea.
I would recommend those.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, we've taken care of the cats real well here.
The cats are going to be well treated now.
We want to take just a short break and listen to a happy tale about a cat named Woody. So give a listen, and we'll be back.
Woody is a 12 or possibly 13-year-old short-haired male cat with tuxedo markings. His first 2 years were spent as a feral cat in the wilds of Lyon County, Kentucky. Darlene found him outside our house and fell in love with him. After several attempts, she was able to trap him and took him to a vet to have him checked out and neutered. When she brought him home, a friend advised her to let him go back into the woods. "If he's meant to come back, he will," said the friend. The release happened on Valentine's Day, and Darlene's heart was broken, fearing that she would never see him again. 9 days later, he came back to the house and has been there ever since as a wonderful companion to Darlene, Greg, and the other cats in the house. He had to learn how to play with toys and adjusted well to living inside. He always wants to know where Darlene is and is living proof that a feral cat can be housebroken to become a wonderful and loving companion.
Welcome back. We have taken care of our feline friends in very, very good shape. And we're going to be concentrating now with the dogs. But just to remind our viewers, if you haven't gotten paper and pencil, the recipes that you're seeing today will be on the screen as Miranda is putting the information together, putting the ingredients together. And they will also be on the Facebook page for the college, which is Paducah 2. And if you go down to the show, you'll find all of the recipes that we've had on today's program there. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, you will see the recipes come up on the sidebar as the show is going on. So there's no reason why you can't get the recipes. And they're not difficult, but it is important.
But they're very
that you,
good.
Yeah.
They're good starters. So.
Yes. And if we could just reemphasize quickly, again, Miranda, some of the ingredients that we should avoid.
Definitely, when we talk about dogs, onion and garlic are big ones.
Okay.
Some recipes you'll see will feature a little bit of garlic, and preferably you want to go with garlic powder over any sort of actual minced garlic or garlic cloves themselves.
Something that's easily digestible.
Exactly.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Okay, and what recipe are you going to demo for us?
All right, what I'm going to demo, you can see them on this tray here.
Which
They
one
are
are
the
they?
ones in the middle.
All right. Ooh.
What we have there, it's a nice thick bone. This is actually a smaller collarbone if Fido needs to lose a few pounds.
Oh, okay.
So what we have here, we have a little bit of reduced fat shredded cheddar cheese. So some good flavor in there. We're going to have some whole wheat flour. We're going to use a little bit of beef broth in here. And when I went for the beef broth, go for the lower sodium because they don't need as much salt as,
No,
as,
not
as
at their
we get.
size, right?
Just like us humans.
I had thrown in some fresh parsley in here.
Ooh.
I don't have it with me today, and you won't actually see it on the recipe, but you can add to it. I just threw, a couple of tablespoons of fresh parsley. I had it on hand, chopped it up, and mixed it in here.
Okay.
It's good, helps with keeping their teeth nice and clean. Good fresh ingredient for them.
That's a good idea.
So,
All right. How do we make it?
Now, when we're going to make it here, we have our shredded cheddar cheese. Of course, if your pooch has a refined palate, you can pick a different kind of cheese. Woo! We're going to throw a little bit of that in our mixing bowl. Pick up my strays here. And we're going to mix our flour in with that first.
Okay.
Before we get any of our wet ingredients in here, we're going to make sure we get this all nice and coated.
Okay, and you have whole wheat flour,
I
right?
do have whole wheat flour
Okay,
here.
All right. That's probably better than just regular white flour, or not?
Definitely for humans,
But how
it
about-
gives you some more. For animals, it is equally good for them.
Oh, that's what I wanted to
One thing to watch out for is, of course, if your animal eats a wheat-free food
Okay.
right now,
Right.
you don't want to introduce this
Okay.
to them there.
All right.
All right, so we're going to mix this just together a little bit, just to kind of get it all nice and coated.
There you go.
There we go.
That's an easy way.
I know.
I like that
I didn't
mixing.
even bring any spoons.
I
I'm
like
just
that
I'll
mixing
just
method.
throw on gloves. It's okay. All right. So that's nice there. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to add a little bit of our milk. We're going to add a little bit of margarine. We're going to add a little bit of beef broth.
Okay.
So it's giving them some good flavor without making them think that they're eating a diet bone or the equivalent of trying to give your dog a stalk of celery.
Can you
Okay.
use soy milk or almond milk if that or not?
What I recommend for anyone, if you're going with something that is dairy or not dairy based,
Right.
Test it out a little bit.
Okay.
Just like they say, if you're going to choose a new shade of paint,
Right, okay.
test it out in just a little bit because
gotcha.
they may get quite sick
Okay.
off of that there.
Okay.
And I'm sure dogs are different just like people are different, so.
Exactly. What works for one
One-
may not work for the other.
Exactly.
All right, we'll add a
Okay.
little bit of margarine here. And then this is another part where we can just get our hands in there and mix it, and
Gotcha.
life is good, life is lovely here. This is, and if I was smart, I would have put the other glove on before I got my wet hand in here. But that's okay. Y'all can see how multi-talented I am here.
Yes, oh, wow.
Putting on these gloves. It's going to be a bit icky, but that's
There you
okay. All right. So we're mixing this. Of course, you don't have to mix it like a caveman like me. You can opt to use a spoon, but what we want here is we want to incorporate all these ingredients. We want to make sure all that flour is incorporated, and then we want to end up with a dough that is kind of nice and firm, because what we're going to do with this one, we're going to throw a little bit of flour down and we're going to roll it out and cut it with cookie cutters here.
Okay.
Now, of course, if your pooch is small, you might want to do something smaller. They do have different sizes of dog bone cookie cutters. My parents have a large dog named Oink, and he's a very, very large dog. So, you know, he's in need of some smaller collarbones, but that would be a good size for him. Now, also when we roll these out, you know, you can have a little bit of fun with them too. Nothing saying you have to use a dog bone shaped cookie cutter.
Right.
I have a cat, I have a squirrel. You know, you can do all these different things that you would like with them.
Gotcha.
All right, so this is starting to come together.
Right.
We have this little dough ball here. All right, I'm gonna set this off to the side. And it looks icky, but
That's all right.
this is kind of done for here. All right, so we've thrown a little bit of flour down. Kind of mash that on there. We're going to do just a little bit of flour on our rolling pin so that it doesn't stick. And what you want to look for here is about a 1/4 inch thickness.
Okay.
And when you're baking your treats, if they come out of the oven and you think they're a little too soft, they're not as crispy as you would like, you can always turn the oven off and leave them in there to cool. And that will help them crisp up.
Okay.
You know, something that can kind of mimic.
And most of these treats, what, about 350?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything cooks at 350.
That's a great default temperature. All right. So we're
Oh, you make it look so easy.
Yes.
just kind of rolling back and forth here. All right. So, and you can thin them out a little bit. I'm going to thin this out just a tiny bit more. Our little dog bone shaped cookie cutter. Easy as pie. That's what we have here. As long as you throw down your flour, have enough on your rolling pin that it won't stick, you have a nice little dog bone here.
All right.
So you can make as many as you would like. This is also another one where all of these recipes you can just make what you need, freeze the rest of the dough, and then come back to it if you have a smaller pooch.
Okay.
Get a little bit more bang for your buck.
Or you just roll it up and put it in the freezer.
Exactly.
All right.
All right.
This is a good way to get your kids involved and getting to work in the
I
kitchen.
never thought.
It,
Yes,
it
it would
really
be.
is.
It would be a nice child-oriented
Yes.
activity with mom or dad.
Because, I mean, it's an easy enough recipe that it's something they could handle without any problem. I believe this one has maybe 5 ingredients, maybe 6 if I miscounted. Well, I could just take a look at what's up here, couldn't I? But this is a great way to get your kiddos involved. Also to try out different things. I know a lot of people want to make sure that what their pets are eating is something, you know, you can pronounce the ingredients that are in the ingredient list. I know that's
Preservative-free, yeah,
exactly.
and chemicals.
Exactly. So even though this does have wheat flour and it is kind of grain based, still you can pronounce everything that's in
Yes,
here.
yes.
You know exactly what's going in there and exactly what your pet is eating.
Yes, that is a very good point. All right. Thank you. You've made it look so simple. I'm sure we're going to have viewers that will go out and try this recipe.
Definitely worth it. You know, whatever can get your, like I said, this is kind of a diet bone. So, you know, this is the incentive that Spot needs to lose a few pounds.
Okay,
Get these tasty treats as a reward.
Okay. Okay, tell us briefly about the other two.
The other ones we have, the ones that are closest to you, the darkest ones, these are our crunchy cinnamon honey dog biscuits.
Okay.
So for dogs with a little bit of a sweet tooth.
Okay.
We've got a little bit of honey in there. There's some cinnamon, just a touch of vanilla. Got some different things in there. We also have the whole wheat flour showing up again.
Okay.
Some other good things in that one that gives you some nice crunch, that gives you lovely. That one smells much better than the cat treats when you're making them, but that one definitely smells like a dessert bone here.
Okay. And this one?
Those are our paw licking chicken bones.
So the base is chicken and...
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So I just am so impressed. I mean, that the simplicity of the recipes plus the fact they probably are good for your pets, even though they could vary with each pet.
Right. And of course, one thing that has to be mentioned, treats should never make up their entire meal. I mean, you're talking about 10% of their daily intake.
10%.
That's really, what you want to give them.
Not 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and 2 at night.
I know. Yeah, don't take them like multivitamins, a couple times a day or one a day. One a day, well, maybe treat it like a multivitamin.
Absolutely. So.
Well, there's just such a wide variety, and our viewers may wonder where they can find more recipes, and as you said, there's a lot of them out on the internet.
Oh, yes.
And if you just Google, in quotes, homemade cat and dog treats, you will find no end of things out there.
Exactly.
So.
You'll find the basic stuff like I kind of demonstrated today, what I showed you today. And then you'll also see the fancier things, some things that people have done. You can make an icing for some of these out of yogurt.
Oh.
With our crunchy cinnamon honey biscuits. That would be a nice little, dip part of them in yogurt.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Miranda, you have just amazed us today with the variety of things that we can do for our pets, and we certainly do thank you for taking your time this afternoon to bring these recipes to us.
Thank you, yes.
We know that our viewers' pets will appreciate everything that you've shown us today.
And as long as they remember the Good Summer report, no more than 10% of the diet for these kind of treats, right?
Exactly.
That's a good point. These are treats, not the meal.
Right. And that means no table scraps. Okay. Well, Miranda, thanks again so much.
Thanks again for coming and sharing your recipes.
Thank you.
We certainly appreciate it. And anytime you want to invite me to your pastry party for adults, let me know.
There we go.
Well, in closing,
this has been fun, Greg.
Oh, it has been involved. We've never done a show quite like this.
No, we have never done a show like this.
This is great. So anyway, in closing,
I'm Darlene.
I'm Greg, and we want to remind our viewers, give your pet a little extra love today, and sneak a treat in there too.
Sneak a treat, right.
But a little extra love every day. See you next time.
Bye.